definitely a tried and true one.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. I also, one thing, I have a 6-year-old with autism, and one thing that we've been missing over the summer is OT. So we've been doing a lot of that cross work with his behavior techs. And one thing that they're very adamant about, and tell me if you agree with this, is to simply do whatever activity you're working on during a preferred activity, so that they don't associate it with negative vibes. Is that along the same lines as everything that we're talking about here?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different schools of thought about negative reinforcement, positive reinforcement, making an experience positive. Anytime, I call it the positivity sandwich, and I think I talked about it in my presentation before, where you start with something they like, you add in a little bit of something they don't like, and then you end with something they like. So this way they remember the whole experience on a more positive level. We have to learn as your therapist, we have to learn your child's likes, what kind of their threshold is, so what's too much, what's not enough. As parents, you're learning these things too, especially with kids who have these sensory needs and other needs as well. So sometimes it's hard to determine, okay, is this the right amount of negative or whatever that bad stimuli is for them, or is it too much, is it not enough? It's a trial and error kind of thing, and you're learning along with your child. So just trying to make it positive for you both is really important.
No, that's good. Good. Just a reminder, if you have any questions for Bri or Jess, go ahead and put them into the chat box. We do have a couple more questions from the survey to go over, but if you have a question that's pressing, they are here for you right now. So hopefully we'll get couple of you guys to throw in a question or two. Another question from the survey, and I'm gonna have to get up and close the door that opened, sorry, is with allergies and COVID and, cold and flu season coming in, the kids that don't know how to blow their nose, and things like that, explaining to them why isn't really an option for some of the younger kids or, individuals who are more severely, affected. So do either one of you have any tips or tricks for that? Go ahead, and I'm just going to shut the door real quick.
Go ahead, Jess, if you have.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know if we were waiting.
You're good.
So I think it's kind of that, like, using very simple language and like one cue, especially like teaching them to blow their nose. So almost like you say, oh, blow, and it's kind of, you continuously practice that. It's kind of a weird, even thinking about yourself like blowing your nose is a weird thing to think about. So it's kind of practicing that and then giving them that one cue, like, oh, we have to blow, and then kind of also making them aware of like feeling like when they have like snot coming down your face and realizing it, because some of our kiddos with some sensory differences might not feel that their face is messy or that they have like their nose is running. So kind of working on some sensory activities and having them become a little bit more aware that it's on their face and that they can wipe it, just to know that as well. But I feel like having like that one word or cue to practice that, to kind of not overload or stress them out, is nice too. But it's definitely like that repetitive practice, getting used to that. I mean, and that's another thing along with the jacket, practicing that now before it's almost like winter where they go outside and your nose automatically kind of runs a little bit more illness.
Yeah, going in from the heat to the cold, it's going to make your nose run regardless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another thing that you can do too, I don't know if whoever this is has tried this or not, but it's called making the tissue dance. It's basically like again, this is why I'm a peds OT. I love playing all day long. But you basically turn blowing your nose into a game and into something fun. Because sometimes that sensation is, for kids with sensory issues, painful or not, they don't enjoy it. So making it a fun experience. So showing them, oh, when I blow my nose, the tissue dances. And you can play music with it if your child likes music. If they don't, obviously I wouldn't do that. But basically you blow your nose and you blow your nose very, very hard. So that the outside of the tissue moves. and you talk about how the tissue is moving and, oh, can you make your tissue do that? And you make sure that they're blowing their nose, not through their mouth, because I've had kids trick me. I'm like, oh, you can blow your nose. Oh, nope, you're blowing through your mouth. So there's all these different things that you can do to make it more fun. Even you can try different tissues. I know, because in my house it's very strange. We have those particular tissues that are cool touch to your nose.
Particular things for families who live with autism.
Yes. We do not have anyone like that in my house, but everyone has sensory needs, so we still have particular tissues. And so we have like the cool touch ones where you put them on your nose and you actually feel that there's a tissue on your nose and it doesn't rub against you because it's really soft. I think they're Kleenex, I'm not sure. But you can try different tissue brands too, because sometimes kids have issues blowing their nose because A, they don't know how to do it, and B, they're not entirely sure if they're doing it right, if the tissue's in the right place, that kind of thing. So you could try different.
I think it would be neat, like when you would have somebody trying their favorite type of an egg, you know, hard-boiled, soft-boiled, over easy, you know, sunny side up. It's the same thing with the tissues. You could have the lotion, the aloe, the really coarse paper towel, you know, don't want to use those. That might be interesting.
Or even, it might not be the best option, but to if your child's like very particular, different like sensory, even like maybe like a certain type of like cloth or like a washcloth or something like that might be a little bit better than like a tissue.
It's a handkerchief, right?
Yeah, kind of. And then also I always say, back to our YouTube, go on YouTube and there are great like social stories about you know, blowing your nose, or even just like a little book social story is good, just to kind of keep talking about it, and then pairing it, like we said before, with something positive, reinforcement after, oh, good job, you blew your nose, if it's like, you know, encouragement, or it's almost like, I don't know, your child loves M&Ms and they get a small miniature M&M after they do it correctly or something, just to kind of have that like positive reinforcement.
Oh, goodness. There's always a lot of options, but you guys are so creative. I love listening to your ideas. Are there any questions at the moment? Let us know you're out there, participants. I know we have a couple people who signed in who didn't hear the first question, so I just want to touch on that again. When a certain noise seems to cause aggressiveness, you have options to overstimulate them with that noise, which could be, you know, a bad negative outcome, versus working them up to it, starting out with, you know, a few seconds and moving forward with that. And then we went to the warm weather and jackets, and then, you know, blowing your nose, which is so scary right now. If anybody sneezes, it's like everybody ducks, you know. So right now, those are some crazy things happening. I know school is on the brain for everybody. Do you have anything in place for your kids that you're working with now? Go ahead, Bri.
So I am currently processing with a couple parents what to do with their child and wearing a mask. And so we've, among searching the internet and just coming up with ideas on our own, for some little girls, they're using headbands and putting buttons on them to attach to the buttons behind the ears, instead of behind the ears onto the buttons. We have other kids who, instead of the regular around the ear face mask, they're using the ones that can sit around your neck and go up across your nose and your mouth. It's just like kind of like a, I don't know, looks like a bigger, smaller at the same time scarf, and it goes up. We've also had some parents already reach out to the schools and say, look, my child will not wear a mask. For a boy, can I have him wear a hat and put buttons on the hat instead? And the schools have said yes. So there's those options. Also, for face shields as well, some schools are providing them. Some schools are saying, you know, you need to get one yourself, making them more child friendly. So sitting down with your child, as long as the school's okay with it, and decorating it, like putting a crown on top of it, something, making it a superhero mask looking kind of thing, something that makes it more child friendly and less scary.
Well, and I've seen, sorry to interrupt real quick.
No,
I've
you're
seen
fine.
masks that come kind of out versus down.
Yeah,
And
so
then,
they're not like so close.
Right in
Well,
your face.
Amazon, now that you're talking about that. So I've been hearing I'm in New Jersey, so the regulations might be different in PA or where you're but I have seen I know children with special needs are excluded from the rule, but I have seen they have the face shields, and I saw a little girl in the store, and it was a unicorn, and I asked them where they got it, and they said Amazon, and it was so cute, and it was not super close to her face, but it was still giving some coverage. So if your kiddo isn't going to wear a mask, they might just be able to wear the face shield, so at least you're feeling a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, so Amazon has the cute themed face shields, and I've been incorporating that in my sessions. So we even try to do one activity, and we're gonna put our mask on, or just first it's the same thing, breaking it up into steps. So first we're just gonna touch it with our finger, then we're going to bring it to our face, and then we're gonna put one ear around, or one loop around our ear, and then we're gonna try the other one and bringing it down. So just breaking it into steps. I know there's a lot of great social stories I've been seeing on Facebook, or some agencies providing, and then even just watching a YouTube video or something. Like Bri said, making it play-based, so it's not as scary, and it's almost fun.
Yeah. The other thing that I've also had a parent do and they had success with was anyone that the child really knew. So extended family, close family friends, and anyone who the child's friends. They had them send over a picture of them in a mask. So they realized, okay, I'm going to see all these people with a mask on. And what we did was put them side by side. So a picture of them without the mask and a picture of them with the mask. And they're like, okay, this is what this person looks like with the mask on, because it's totally different when you can't see from here down.
Yeah,
you're missing a lot. So they had some success with that too.
I know there's some superheroes out there who are putting the masks on. So there's some really good posters and images that you could probably save to your phone to show Captain America wearing a mask.
Well, and I think it's good too to pair that with a very highly preferred activity. So maybe if your kiddo loves sensory input, so an obstacle course, or a heavy work activity, we're going to do animal walks, just so they're super regulated and in their optimal state before you try to put the mask on. That will help as well.
Yeah. No, that sounds I don't know how they're going to do the social distancing, so the masks and the shields are going to be very important for the next year, I feel. And so the more it can become normal, even though the kids, at least in Pennsylvania, are excluded from that law, that doesn't mean that you don't want them to practice those safety measures. And if they can do it, then they should, because that might be the very real society that we live in. Once this is over, I don't think a lot of people are going to go back because they're going to be afraid. So you never know.
Another thought, I know this was going around Facebook, but if you're sending your child to school with a lunch, make sure they are able to open everything on their own. Opening things that food comes in is a lot of work, a lot of we don't really realize it. It's kind of automatic and unconscious for most of us, but there's a lot of fine motor. There's a lot of bilateral coordination, finger isolation. All those things go into opening little snack packets, twisting off a cap. So anything that you're going to send to school with your child, because most people don't want teachers opening things for their kids right now if they're going to eat it. And a teacher's not going to have the time to go around the entire classroom and open everything for everybody and leave them enough time to eat as well. So make sure you're sending them their food and things that they can open by themselves. And if there's something they can't do, work on it before school starts. Make little, easily you can take bottles, cut the cap off, and practice opening and closing. Put colors, have them color sort. Anything like that. Practice, put a puzzle into a Ziploc bag, have them practice opening it to get the puzzle pieces. Anything like that you can help your child be more independent with those things as well.
And that's very important. Whether you're a parent or not, you have that urge to help somebody that you feel might be struggling. And I've worked in a school for kids who all had autism, K through 12. And, you know, most of the students had their own TSS or behavior technician, in addition to the teacher and the teacher's aide. And among all these adults, these kids, a lot of them, you know, were able to understand that if I just sit here, they're going to open it for me.
For me, yep.
They're very capable. And, you know, my son included, he'll just sit there and let me do everything. I'm like, come on, buddy, you can do this. So now is more important than ever. And thank you so much for bringing that up. I really can't believe that one didn't get on there from anybody. Yeah. Any other questions right now that you guys can think of from any outside sources that you've seen recently?
Really, the big one's the mask. It's hard because we don't really know what's going to happen with school.
Nobody.
So maybe we were just talking before, maybe like we'll have another SVOTs once school gets back or after September.
I can only imagine the amount of questions that will come from everybody going back to school.
I think we might have some more based on what everything that happens.
Yeah.
Well, that is fantastic. I don't have anybody asking questions at the moment. So what we can do is, you know, do a part 2 of this later in the fall, early winter, even if that, you know, whatever works best. And we'll put out a survey and, you know, hopefully get some more questions. Some of these are really good. And then your points were fantastic. Go ahead, Bri.
I do have something. A parent recently asked me, because of COVID and the lack of routine and the sleep schedules being off, how do I get my child back on a typical sleep schedule and willing to follow routines for school? That is a very common issue right now among people who have children on the spectrum and typically functioning children. And there's no straightforward answer besides start a couple weeks early. Don't start, you know, the weekend before school starts, oh, you have to be in bed at this time. Start a couple weeks beforehand, because regulating sleep takes a while, because you get into that circadian rhythm and those sleep patterns and those sleep habits. They don't just change over a couple days. I like using visual schedules, and I like to make them interactive. So have your child help you. Okay, at this time, make it like out of Velcro, like construction paper and Velcro. If you have a laminator like me, go crazy. And you take everything that you're going to do, whether it's pictures or words, and you walk through it and you say the times. And I've even used a clock that has glass or plastic on it, and used not Sharpies, whiteboard markers with different colors, because you can erase them. So, okay, from this time to this time, so from 7 to 7:10 is blue. At 7:10, we go in our bed. From 7:10 to 7:15 is purple. We read our book, and then we go to bed. Anything like that to try to get them into that following a routine again, to get them regulated and back into those rhythms for school.
And piggybacking off of that, I know with some, like in New Jersey, a lot of them are like 4 days a week and hybrid schedules. So I would say take the time, whatever you decide for your family, or if your child's going to be home for the 5 days and doing all like telehealth and virtual learning, make a schedule for them during the day so they have that routine, because all kids crave that routine and that structure, but especially our kiddos with autism, they like to know what's going to happen. So try to do that and stick with that routine with the, you know, hybrid schedules or virtual or whatever you're doing with your family. I think that's a big tip, piggybacking off of that. So.
Well, and from a parent's perspective, one thing that my son has started to do is take a routine that he had down. So going to the bathroom, you know, you go to the bathroom, you use the bathroom, you know, get done, you pull up your pants, you flush the toilet, and you wash your hands. It's, you know, we had that picture schedule, and he was able to master that. But what happened over the break was that he just got lazy, and he started taking away one step at a time. It's something that he knows to do. So it started without, I don't want to wash my hands. And I'm like, oh, well, here's some sanitizer, you know, and that was my mistake. So then it started, I'm not flushing the toilet. And I'm like, wait a second, what's happening? Then he started sitting down to pull his pants up like he was a toddler again. And I'm like, stop, let's start over. We went to and got the picture schedule, and he can read and understand and comprehend what he's reading. So we redid it to where it included a lot of words and not just the pictures.
Right.
Back on track.
Yep.
Great. Yeah,
Those
glad you thought of that one.
Yeah. Those visual cues, I mean, I live off of I need a visual cue to remember anything. I live off Post-it notes. I can't live without them. But they work so well for so many kids, whether it's pictures or words. It's just click something in the brain that's like, oh, this is next. This is what I have to do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think that in addition to YouTube, both of you could have a very successful Pinterest page with all the things that you have come up with.
Yeah, do that, Bri.
I'm pretty sure you already have it. You can, put it up there next time. But I mean, we don't have any other participants at this time. So I'm going to let you guys go, but I'm going to go ahead and run that PowerPoint through one more time. The recording started a little bit later on my behalf. I'm so sorry about that. So that first question, that's why I repeated it throughout the training. So I'm going to go ahead and run that PowerPoint, and then this will be over. So everybody who's watching this in the recordings, definitely keep an eye out and mark down the questions that you have, because if we do end up going virtual again when school starts, it takes, even with preparation, it takes a while for those related services, occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, to get set up with all the families. So you may be doing a lot of the therapy at home by yourself. So that's something just to keep in mind. I mean, it already happened once. It can easily happen again. So thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you.
And if anybody wants to reach out to you, Jess, you want to start with your information?
Yeah, so it's Jess, Jess Gardner, GARDINER 95 @gmail.com. You can email me if you have a question or want some resources. I'd love to get in touch.
Thank you. Bri?
Yeah, so mine's just my name, Brianne Font, BriAnnene FONT @yahoo.com. I'm more than willing to answer any questions you have, whether or not they're directly related to this or something you think of later. Totally available and willing to help. So please reach out.
Thank you, ladies, so much. All right. Well, best of luck for the beginning of school.
Thanks.
Okay.
You too.
All right. I'm going to go ahead. Bye, ladies. I'm going to share the screen again and just play that PowerPoint one more time for everyone. Okay. Okay. So thank you all so much again for joining, participating, and listening. And I just wanted to let everybody know that all of our trainings are on YouTube. We have our own channel, and it is the Autism Center at MU for Misericordia University. So just know that that is something where you can go and find all the trainings we've done in the past and where all the trainings we're doing in the future will be posted. So have a wonderful night. Thank you.